So we're going to bring this meeting to a beginning. Thank you for coming to our 2020 annual Wheatsville meeting. My name is Mary Jade O'Connor. I've been on the board for 3 years and I'm up for re-election. So I hopefully look forward to another 3 years. We're going to get started with some words from our board member. But before I do that, just for those of you that have joined, a couple of reminders. If you have a question, go ahead and put it in the chat. That will go directly to Nick, who will be taking care of any logistical questions. And then at the end, we'll pull a few questions to answer as a group. If your question doesn't get answered, then we invite you to send it to an email at membership@wheatsville.com. And we'll get to your question if you send it in an email. All right, let's get started. So Jacqueline, are you ready to roll the videos?
Huh? Yeah, you can take them off now. They're on sale. That's okay. Put it in your cart.
Hi Wheatsville people, my name is Megan McDonald and I'm a proud Wheatsville owner and board member. I choose Wheatsville because it is the only grocery store in Austin that is powered by community, cooperative ideals, and governed by everyday Austin people. As our food systems become more and more controlled by grocery store giants, I know how important it is for people to have a say when it comes to their food and how their food choices affect their community and local suppliers. When I shop at Wheatsville, I know that the money that I'm spending is staying within my community, supporting local farmers and suppliers, employees, and other important community organizations. To me, shopping at Wheatsville is an act of activism, a light of hope, and a model of what could be. And honestly, Wheatsville is just one of my favorite places to be in Austin.
Wheatsville is important to me as it's a reliable local grocery store that aligns with my personal values. With the pandemic this year, it's important to me now more than ever to make sure we support our local Austin community. Shopping at Wheatsville is just one more way to do this. I try to emphasize a healthy lifestyle, and Wheatsville has that same focus on healthy, natural, and sustainable products that other grocery stores just don't prioritize. The shopping experience is also a big part of why I love coming into Wheatsville. From the staff's friendly customer service and always being able to find what I need, it's always a great experience coming into the stores, and I'm grateful to have this resource in Austin.
Hello, Wheatsville. My name is Jason Bourgeois, and I've lived in Austin since 2005, and I lucked into Wheatsville about 4 years ago. I was invited out to the store, and I gravitated to the friendliness of the community. But if I'm being entirely honest, I was sucked in by the popcorn tofu, and I've been a fan ever since. This year, I'm completing my 3rd-year service on the board, and we have more work to do. So when I think about what Wheatsville means to me, Wheatsville to me it's a haven where I continue to learn about food literacy, where I continue to learn about democratic participation, and where I continue to actualize my purchasing power and how it drives our mission of bringing sustainable food solutions to the forefront. And what I've learned through board work is that this work of bringing sustainable food solutions to the forefront is going to require all of us, all owners at Wheatsville. We all need to partake in the work of intentionally buying at Wheatsville, inviting new folks out to the store to come check us out, and participating in local and Wheatsville elections. These are just a few of the levers of democracy that will help us accomplish our mission. And I'm excited about further opportunities to serve on the board if elected for another term.
Hi, I'm Brian Mikulenchuk, and I'm currently on the Wheatsville board up for re-election this year. First, I want to say thank you for attending the annual owners meeting. I know that we're all missing the usual festivities of the in-person meeting and looking forward to when we can hold that event again in the future safely. So There are so many reasons why Wheatsville is important to me, but I think especially at this time, what's most important to me is that Wheatsville is at its heart a local organization. It employs people locally, it sources from local purveyors, and it's independent of outside influences. It helps keep and recycle our community assets and community wealth within our community. We all know that right now local businesses are suffering disproportionately, but we also know that we'll be in the best possible place in the future and after this pandemic if we support our local businesses during this time. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you again for attending this virtual meeting. Thank you for spending your time in support of Wheatsville. And if you haven't already, please remember to vote in our 2020 Wheatsville election.
Hi, I am Rachel Fisher, and I have been on the Wheatsville board for about a year. What Wheatsville means to me is healthy community. So first of all, the products that I purchase there and I bring into my home and I consume, I believe have been mindfully selected by Wheatsville buyers with environmental and social sustainability in mind. I also believe and know that the money I spend at the co-op stays in the co-op and in the community, whether that is supporting our employees who are wonderful or our new general manager who is seeing us through a very difficult time, or our owner members who receive dividends when we're able to do that, or our community partners like People's Community Clinic or the Food Bank. This is where my money goes. This is why I spend it at the co-op, and I thank you for being a member and supporting.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you to the board for submitting those words of encouraging words. And if you missed some of those videos, they're all on the Wheatsville YouTube channel, and that can be found Wheatsville Food Co-op, spelled C-O-O-P. So you can look on YouTube for Wheatsville. All right. Our next item is going to be a message from our president, Rosemarie Klee. And as I know, as a board member, I am so appreciative of her experience and leadership. She really makes sure that all the board members are well educated about what it means to be a board member and about what we need to be doing. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Rosemarie, and thank you for giving your message.
Thanks so much, Mary Jade, and good morning, Wheatsville. It's amazing to have such a great turnout for our first ever virtual annual meeting. And I really want to thank you so much for your continued and constant love and support of our co-op. We really could and would not be here without you. Wheatsville means so many things to me that it's really hard to give a short answer. I came to the co-op as I began to think about the nexus of community, economy, and sustainability. And when I first began to shop here, I reflected on the question, if we don't sell it at Wheatsville, do I really need it? And even so, I was constantly blown away by the well-curated selection. There was really no privation. On the contrary, my visits to Wheatsville were a constant discovery of so many new products every time I shopped. I think it was Nikki Nash, our grocery and wellness director, who taught me the concept of the despair of overwhelming choice. So that's what happens when you have 100 kinds of cereal to choose from. And a few years later, I was on this trip to upstate New York. We were in this charming small town and we were making a frittata. And I had this moment of no longer recognizing what we bought as real food. Like, this was not what a tomato looked like anymore to me. And opening up a carton of eggs, the perfectly uniform bleach white ovoids, these are not eggs. And I found that my taste buds had come back to expect like what real milk tastes like, and that celery has flavor. So trust in the products we offer has always meant so much to me, and especially when we consider food as medicine and recognize that our entire body is composed of what we put into it. But actually, to me, the primary appeal has always been participating in a business that models how an economy can be designed for people, and with the principle to first do no harm. There's a quote attributed to Andy Warhol that the grocery store is the most powerful vehicle, or the grocery cart is the most powerful vehicle for change. And today I just want to offer this idea to you for further contemplation. the grocery cart is the most powerful vehicle for change. So I'm already getting emotional here. Many of you know how much I love the opening statement of our bylaws. The purpose of the Wheatsville Co-op is to promote the transformation of society towards cooperation, justice, and non-exploitation. Wow, that is what we're here to do. Over the years, this has taken many different forms. In our earliest of days, we became part of a movement to offer natural and organic foods that weren't readily available in the marketplace. And food co-ops like ours help to establish and develop a fundamental shift in the food system. And over the decades, we've indeed realized this transformation, and we do realize that we constantly need to hold the line on this. In more recent time, Wheatsville has been recognized on the local and national levels for our work to develop a livable wage model and for our paid sick leave, which have not been the norms for businesses of our size and in our sector. Over the years, we've continued to up our game in terms of skill and sophistication for operating in what is an extremely competitive market environment. And it seems that even as we've gotten better and better, the challenges we face have constantly increased in magnitude. Well, I'm here to say that we embrace it because we know that it has to be possible. For the sake of our communities, our society, our world, it has to be possible that a business created entirely for the purpose of serving its community, of growing and cultivating people, of participating in the economy with the driving ideas to balance fair prices to producers, fair wages to workers, fair prices to customers, and sustainable treatment of the environment. It has to be possible for us to succeed. We are the vehicles for the transformation of society. And so it is with great joy and gratitude that I assert that never has our community been stronger. And so we are up to the challenges of our times. And now it's my great pleasure to introduce for the first time at our annual meeting, our general manager, Mark Jacob. Mark joined our team just 6 months ago in April 2020, and wasn't that an interesting time to have a new leader come on board as terra firma was completely shifting below us. In order to keep my remarks brief, I'm not going to go on and on about Mark's background and resume, and it would really be difficult to keep it brief trying to explain the awesome level of skill that he brings to our organization. So I'm just going to tell you the most important thing by way of introduction, because honestly, at the core of it, the amazing level of retail operations skill that Mark brings, his deep passion for cultivating people, for openness and transparency, for inclusivity and diversity, his thoughtfulness in everything he does and every interaction he has and every change he makes. All of this is so deeply rooted in his values about goodness and hope and humanity. Where else could his tireless leadership possibly come from but his great heart? We are so fortunate to have him at the helm. I personally am so fortunate to get to learn from and interact with and be inspired by him. And I hope that each of you will have the opportunity to connect with him personally. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Mark Jacob.
Wow, Rosemary, thank you so much for the kind words. And my commitment is I will do everything in my power to live up to that each and every day. I'll start with what does Wheatsville mean to me? And that is such a challenging question to answer, because the reality of it is I could talk about that for the rest of the time that we have. If I was going to try to simplify it, for me, it starts with people. Both our staff, our shoppers, our owners, just people in general, what it means to be a human, what it means to be able to interact with people, the human connection in a way that just shows up that you don't see in other organizations or businesses or grocery stores like I've ever seen before. It's hope to me, it's humanity, it's compassion, it's community, it's all the things that I was really looking for whenever I would like to say, if I was going to simplify what Wheatsville means to me, it's my extended family. And although I haven't had the opportunity to meet many of you, and if I have met you, it's been in face coverings to the point where the next time I see you, unless you have the same face covering, it's challenging to even know that you're the same person I met. Yeah, it's been challenging times, but even in some of the darkest, most challenging days we have faced due to this pandemic, I've never been more proud to be part of an organization. So Wheatsville, to me, it is my extended family. And I will do everything in my power to ensure not only do we succeed during these challenging times, that we thrive. We thrive because it's what we must do for the staff that we support. It's what we must do for the community that we support. And it is so important, especially in a time when human connection has become more stressed and challenging than any recent times I've ever seen. It's so important for our staff, our shoppers, and our owners to have the opportunity to, whether it's for a brief moment or not, interact with somebody who truly cares about them, cares about their community, and cares about what they're doing each and every day. I'm going to try to talk a little bit about state of the business, where we're at, where we're going, why, how we're getting there. And I'm going to start with, yeah, it's been financially challenging times for many years at Wheatsville. And although I've been here since April, that doesn't excuse the responsibility that I have. And I take that very seriously. I will absolutely leverage the talents that we have in our ownership, leverage the talents that we have in our staff to make sure that together we win and we succeed and we thrive in the future. But to talk a little bit about, well, why are you facing so many challenges? We hear grocery stores are doing well. Why not Wheatsville? I would highlight a few things. One, if you think about our business as a whole, we have 2 stores. Both of those stores are in the city for the most part, if you want to call it that. And during this pandemic, we all know many of us have had people working from home, either ourselves, our friends, our family. People are staying more close to their local community, whether it's because their children are doing online schools, working online, whatever the system may be. And due to that, people are shopping closer to home. It's just been part of what it is. We don't have suburban stores. All the market analysis and study shows suburban stores are really thriving right now, but city stores, not as much. Another thing that we've challenged with has been the University of Texas, the fact that that is such a key driver for our business, and the students, the staff, they haven't come back at full capacity, not even close, not even at 50%. That's been a significant headwind for us when such a large population of our shoppers that we rely on aren't here. Another item is big box retailers have really drawn the attention of many shoppers just due to people feeling, rightfully so, scared to have trips out in the public as much as possible. So they're trying to go to more one-stop shops where they can get anything that you would imagine under one roof, whether that is a hammer, food, whatever they can do to be able to one-stop shop and limit their exposure. Unfortunately, Wheatsville doesn't have the same mix of items that a Walmart Supercenter would have, or even these large H-E-B formats. Us being small is one of the things that makes us unique, that makes our culture so special. But during these times, it's more challenging. The deli is a lot of what the culture of Wheatsville is. It's a lot of what brought people into our stores. And with the impact that we've had on the deli, transitioning from being able to come in, enjoy the delicious food, scoop out your own portions, what you remember as $5 dinner, all of those things have had to transition, which part of that was, again, a lot of the heart, the soul of what Wheatsville is, revolved a lot around food, wholesome food we've cooked, that we've poured our hearts into to provide that to you. And we're still doing that, but it just shows up in a different way. And it took us some time to figure out how to make it show up at all. And then lastly, I would highlight the fact that we are a premium grocer in the sense of we offer much more organic foods than your average store. We offer much more non-GMO foods than your average store, more natural foods in those ways. And those do come at a slightly higher price than you would pay for, as Rosemary described, lesser quality food. But right now, there's many people that are challenged out there financially, and we understand that. They're challenged because their loved ones lost their job, they lost their job themselves, or they're in fear of doing so based upon what's happening in the world. And they're making cheap choices to buy items that aren't as premium in the value and the quality and the wholesomeness that you provide to your body. But we understand sometimes you have to make choices. But when you add those things together, it's created a significant challenge for Wheatsville. So what can we do about that? We have action plans in place for just about anything you can imagine to really make sure that we are minimizing the loss that we're having. And we've had substantial years of loss. So building that up to this point and now turning this ship, it's challenging, especially when we're trying to turn it in the midst of this pandemic. But I am confident we're up to the challenge, and when we come out, we'll be stronger. So to touch on a few of the items that we're doing right now to impact that. Perpetual inventory is something that many of you may have heard of, and you'll come into the stores and say, why don't we have something? We had quite a few issues with our perpetual inventory systems and processes and how we handle that. And our leadership of Nikki Nash on our team, who is our leader for perpetual inventory, as well as many other things. But Nikki took that on and has put in place multiple different things to ensure that we are having a much more full store. We're having a store that has the items that our shoppers want and readily available. So I'm excited for you to be able to come back to our stores and see that we are solving that problem. Doesn't mean we're there yet, but we're much farther along, and we will continue to get there each and every day. Total pay. Rosemarie and others talked a little bit about our livable wage model. We enhanced that again this year. Even in the face of all the challenges that we had, we again gave staff another raise this year across the board because we believe in a livable wage model, and we have continued to be focused on that, and we're leveraging a very aggressive livable wage model to ensure that we're taking into account not just the model, but also the cost of living in the Austin area. So our livable wage model includes that. We've done things to organize the benefits package that we have for our staff members and to make sure that everyone has access and resources to those. And we're proud to have even added a holiday this year when we added Juneteenth this year, because we believed it was the right thing to do, and it was part of our mission, part of our principles, and part of our ends. We believed that recognizing that was important, as well as a staff benefit. We re-upped our customer focus to ensure that the relationship that you're getting with the staff when you come in is like nothing you experience anywhere else. We've leveraged our marketing to begin to highlight more deli items, to be able to leverage more social media platforms. And now we're going to start getting back into highlighting culture and what makes Wheatsville special on some of those different platforms. We've looked at productivity standards from our labor investment to ensure that our staff understands we see them as an investment and not a line item expense. And how can we leverage that investment to help Wheatsville thrive? And we've put in expectation standards of what we're trying to accomplish with our shoppers, as well as how we can accomplish that efficiently so that we can move back to a profitable model. We have a staff morale model where we've done everything from spruce up break areas. If you go outside Lamar, there's a back break area that used to be pretty sad that has been spruced up, leveled, put in a way where our staff has a respectable place to relax. We've done the same thing with many of our other areas in our stores, and we're continuing to do that work. What I ask of you is to please continue to realize the three most important things you can do to help Wheatsville. One is shop with us. Continue to shop with us, especially right now. I could not thank you enough for how you have reacted to the letter that we sent out of we need you back. We're struggling right now. And the reaction over the last 3 to 4 days from our owners and the shoppers that we have has been overwhelming in all the right ways. I sent a message to my direct team the other day and said, this is the first time since I've been at Wheatsville in April that I actually physically had to jump on the floor, start bagging groceries, start cashiering, because we didn't have enough help because of how many of you reacted in kind to that letter. I'm sure that will create other problems for us that we want to solve. They're good problems to have, that now maybe we have to change our perpetual inventory model again because our shoppers are back. We have to up our labor model again because our shoppers are back. So I would ask that you understand, don't give up on us during this turn. When you're back and you're shopping with us, we will absolutely solve those problems. If we need to hire, we will hire. If we need to increase our inventory levels, we will increase our inventory levels. Give us the opportunity for us to continue to earn your business. But we have not had this level of business that we've had in the last 3 to 4 days in I don't know how long. So I just want to say thank you for that, but understand we are going to ramp back up to meet those expectations as fast as possible. And please continue to shop with us. Don't let it be a one-time event. We would ask that you think of Wheatsville as a larger component of your grocery needs. Second thing is invite friends and family. If there's something that you think we can offer them, even if it's just the human connection, which we all know how critical that is, please invite friends and family to shop with us. And then lastly, feedback. Any feedback you can provide, I would ask. I'm going to have Nick send out my cell phone number to all owners, but I want you to know if you need me, I will be available. You can call me. I will talk to you. I will do whatever it takes to meet and exceed the expectations of our owners. Sometimes those are in conflict of each other, and I'll do my best to navigate that. But I will do everything to make sure that you know I don't just see you as a transaction. I don't just see you as a line item on a profit and loss statement. You are why I'm here at Wheatsville. And people is everything to me. So I want you to know that I'm available. I'll actually throw my phone number in the chat here in a moment in case you have the opportunity to see that. But please let me hear your voice. Let me know what you need, and I'll do everything I can do to respond to as many of those as possible. And I'll definitely get back to you. I'm going to circle back with our last item on action items I didn't touch on, and then I'll transition over to a little bit more about that. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. When I came into the co-op, I heard, hey, there's a problem here, Mark. We need to solve this. We need to do a better job. And our history is rooted in this and being successful in that way, even our namesake. But right now, we've slipped a little bit and we want to pick ourselves back up. So we created an action plan around diversity, equity, and inclusion, and everything that includes ensuring that we don't make a single hire until we have seen a diverse slate of candidates. That way, the absolute best candidates can come forward, not just the candidates that happen to apply first. And I'm proud to say that through that model, we have already seen some very strong, diverse candidates that we did make choices to hire because they were the best candidates and they happened to be diverse. So through allowing that opportunity for everyone to have a place at the table, the strongest are the ones that are moving forward. And many of those so far have been diverse candidates. And we've seen our diversity from a numbers perspective already increase the co-op. We're also increasing our education and our knowledge in that. And I'm going to transition over to Dr. Kazike Prince very shortly here. But just to tell you a little bit about Dr. Prince, he leads his own consulting organization that he has partnered with the city of Austin in. He's actually worked with the city of Austin for more than 5 years, both as a project manager for the mayor's office and a senior policy advisor and educational coordinator for the office of the mayor, to be able to increase knowledge and experience and what people can do with diversity, equity, and inclusion. So we are very proud to put our time, our financial situation, and our hearts and minds behind being better than we've ever been in this capacity, and truly being a means to help end any systematic racism that's out there. So with that, I want to remind you all, thank you so much. Give us a chance to fix the problems that sales are doing us. We're excited for that. And I'm going to transition it now over to Dr. Kazike Prince. And thank you.
Hey, good afternoon, Wheatsville board. So it's such a pleasure to get to meet you virtually, at least. Bill and Nick asked me to put this little video together for you, just to tell you a little bit about the work that we're doing, that I'm doing here at Gelati Consulting. I'm the founder and CEO of this diversity, equity, inclusion consulting firm, and I have the distinct pleasure and honor of working with it looks like most, if not all, of the Wheatsville staff and leadership. And so I'm just really honored to be able to work with them. Just want to tell you a little bit about the process that they're going through. I think it's really exciting because it's an attempt to really dig in, right? And learn a lot about themselves individually, but also learn a lot about the organization. And part of my role is to facilitate that entire process as my grandfather would say, from the rooter to the tutor. So the way the process is starting off, just as a kind of beginning place, is that each of the members of the team receive an email from me introducing them to the Intercultural Development Inventory, which actually is a tool that I use to help provide coaching, which is basically telling them where their areas of strength are, where their superpowers are, but also where their areas of growth will be as well. And so I use that assessment tool that's based off of years and years of research that provides them some context for where they are and their abilities and skills and awareness as far as being able to navigate across cultures. So this is not a measure of how good their heart is, how hard they work, how smart they are, how much they've traveled across the globe. This is a measure of how well you navigate across cultures. And so this really allows us to focus on not just issues like race and gender, but a variety of social justice and social equity issues that many of us in this world we live in today are really focused on. And so each person receives an individual email from me personally, inviting them to fill out the IDI, as I like to call it. And once they complete it, then they have an opportunity to set an appointment with myself or one of my team members to receive feedback, because our goal is to, one, understand what the results are and making sure we have a thorough understanding of those results. But then how do we apply that information, those nuggets of information to your next steps? Because one of the things I've learned over the years when you're doing this work around diversity, equity, inclusion, and dare I say include belonging, is people wonder what their individual responsibility may be. And so part of this is to make sure that they have a sense of what their work's going to be, but really looking at the next 6 months to a year, really applying their knowledge, their skills and awareness towards the work of developing their cultural competence, of really navigating across cultures, deepening their understanding about themselves and other people, because the goal here is to make and provide the opportunity and lay the foreground, if I may say, to make Wheatsville the best community, not just for the people who work for the organization, but for the folks that you serve, by increasing their awareness, developing their cultural competence, developing their cultural intelligence, and developing the wherewithal to navigate as effectively as they can across cultures to better serve the Austin community. You guys are a stalwart organization that's been around for quite a long time. And I imagine there's all kinds of wonderful ideas and thoughts and opportunities we want to take advantage of. We want to make sure that they're best prepared to, one, know where their areas of strength are, but also where their areas of growth may be. From that, once they've done the assessment online, which has been translated into 15 languages, and now received feedback from myself and one of my team members, now we'll come together as a team, of course virtually, to continue the work so we have a common language, a common opportunity to discuss issues that many people are concerned about. But also it's an interactive experience. So I provide some opportunities to really challenge them, to challenge their thinking, their way of being, just so we're doing this work in a way that's safe, but also is an attempt to help us grow and manifest the best that we have to offer for Wheatsville and the Wheatsville community. And so through that process of doing an individual assessment and also providing a group experience, a group training, we also are able to provide feedback for not just the individual, but also take the averages of all the participants and provide a group feedback. And so during that training, I'll actually give them feedback about where Wheatsville is collectively. And one of the things that Bill Beckford and myself and other leadership will talk about is how do we want to take that assessment tool and to maybe break it up so we have some sense of where leadership may be as far as management is concerned and compare it to the rest of the staff. Sometimes by understanding where staff may be in comparison to leadership will help understand maybe some challenges and some differences of perspective and approach to this work. It may express that you're maybe in the same place. And so it's just a good way of using data to help explain and understand the circumstances the organization may be in and how to better navigate them. Again, knowing what their their areas of strength are, what their superpowers may be, but also what their areas of growth in very specific terms. So I'm not setting them up for failure by giving them too much that they're not able to actually navigate successfully, but also not dumbing it down so much that they're bored out of their mind. I want them to have a positive experience, so they're challenged just enough to really take it to the next level, again, individually and as an organization. And it's really clear, I will hopefully make it really clear for you that it's important to not just focus on the individual work, but also the collective work. Both are important. And without the individual work, it's hard to figure out how the organization is going to move forward collectively as a team. And so I present these ideas of the assessment tool, which is really important, the individual work and the plans that each person will have, working on the next 6 months to a year. But then the goals that may come out of the feedback that I provide you based on the group results I'm able to offer to the team as we think about what our next steps are going to be. And so I just want to say thank you for the opportunity, and hopefully this will be a great opportunity for Wheatsville to continue to do the good work that they've been doing for the last few decades or a couple decades, and really figure out what's the next step. How do we respond to the big issues and concerns that your team members are bringing, but your communities are bringing to you in the space that you have been so well respected in? And so I want to say thank you again for the opportunity. I look forward to working with Bill and the rest of the team, and I've been meeting with several people already, and I'm learning so much. And I want to say thank you again. I imagine there might be some questions out there about the work that we're doing. I would highly encourage you to reach out to me directly if you like. Bill has my email address, but feel free to email me if you like. My email is dr, like doctor, drkj, as in Jack, Prince, drkj Prince at JelaniAustin.com. That's JelaniAustin.com. So again, thank you. Hope you have a great rest of the day, and look forward to maybe meeting you in person at some point once this whole pandemic blows over. All right, take care. Bye.
Right, thank you, everyone. So great words, good messages, and now we are going to hear from our treasurer, Brandon Hines. He's going to give us a treasurer's report. Take it away, Brandon.
Thank you, and I really appreciate all the work that Dr. Prince is doing. This is a topic that is so important, and I'll talk about that a little bit later from my perspective. But I guess first of all, as the board treasurer, we've got some responsibilities. We're at the fall owners meeting, and we want to make sure that we cover all of those responsibilities and give a good report of to all owners the current state of Wheatsville. And so Wheatsville is a cooperative, and that means something very special. That means that we all collectively own and have a responsibility for making sure that the organization is run effectively. And so we were formed under the Texas Business Organizational Codes, and there's some requirements that we have to make sure that there's the appropriate governance mechanisms in place for Wheatsville. So we have a board of directors, which is comprised of owners elected by owners to make sure that all of the financials are in order, to make sure that we're hiring the right general manager to oversee the organization, to make sure that there's a level of accountability to keep this Austin institution healthy and thriving. So as a part of that, we have our board of directors, and we have some obligations underneath the board of directors. To oversee the business. We hire a general manager who is, from a board's perspective, that's the board's employee to make sure that the organization is run effectively. And we are not by trade grocers, so we come from a diverse background of professions, from backgrounds, from perspectives, and we operate under this mechanism called policy governance. And that gives us a way of having consistency year over year as turnover goes through board after board member. We all have term limits, and so we'll get elected, we'll work, and we'll govern through this mechanism of policy governance. And as a part of that, we form a committee to report on the quality of the annual report and the bookkeeping. And so we form an audit and review committee, and that's one of the responsibilities of the treasurer. So we've created that committee. In years past, we've opened that invitation up to owners in general, and we've had a number of owners that have come in and joined that and participated in doing an audit and review committee activities. This year has been a little bit different with the pandemic, and so we had to figure out how we can execute the responsibilities, and so we unfortunately were unable to open to owners this year, and we hope that we can be able to do so, have more broad inclusion with the general ownership in future years. So this year it was myself and Stephanie Wong, who is another board member, and we have to look to see how do we get confidence that the organization is run effectively. And we do that through a number of mechanisms. We do that through reviewing, the board as a whole reviews a number of reports and attestations from Wheatsville management. We also directly inspect a number of artifacts to make sure that we have comfort and confidence that things are being reported effectively. And then third, we hire an independent outside firm that specializes in auditing the financials and the operations of co-op organizations. And we hire an organization called Wegner CPAs. They've had a long-standing relationship with Wheatsville, so they have a really good understanding of the Wheatsville business model, co-ops in general, some of the things that are unique to Wheatsville and the community that they operate in. So we did finalize the audit quite recently. So Wegner looks at the financial statements, and they have affirmed that everything is conforms to the U.S. GAAP principles, the generally acceptable accounting principles. They review the design, implementation, and maintenance of internal controls to make sure that all of the reports are free from material missteps, and they've issued us a final audit letter that everything is as it should be. So we've got a clean audit assessment, which is always a good thing because it gives us confidence that the management is operating effectively. So having said that, I want to kind of take a brief look back. So Wheatsville has been as a co-op serving the Austin community for what, almost 40 years, about 40 years. I've been a proud shopper at Wheatsville for 30 of those years, so I have a deep vested interest in making sure that we can perpetuate this community. But things have been challenging. We had a successful opening of the South Lamar store in 2013, but as has been mentioned, we're kind of in the midst of grocery wars where everyone's coming in, and we have this pandemic that's looming over us. So over the last several years, sales have been flat, and we've accumulated $2.5 million in net operating losses. I'm really happy to say that through a lot of hard work from the interim general management team as well as the new general manager, we have managed to secure a modest profit of $49,007. We need credit for every one of those dollars. But with this pandemic, as Mark had suggested, it talked about it at some length, is things will be challenging, and we all have a responsibility as owners, as kind of stewards of this Austin institution, just to help us sustain. And so I want to go briefly into what Wheatsville means to me. And Rosemary talked about the Wheatsville mission statement, and I think the thing that means the most to me is to promote a transformed society towards cooperation, justice, and non-exploitation. And we're looking around Austin right now and seeing so many organizations struggle and so many organizations go under. And so we're losing organizations that have been serving the Austin community and helping make Austin a really unique community for 40 plus years. We want to make sure that Wheatsville comes through this pandemic and is able to continue to promote the transformation of society. We listened to Dr. Prince about what we have to do internally, and my goal and what Wheatsville means to me is how do we not just solve some of the internal challenges and evolve the co-op, but how do we take our learnings, our message, and help change community, the whole Austin community, and really transform society. So that's what Wheatsville means to me, and I think it's not just not just an opportunity that we have, but as an owner and as a longtime Austin resident, I feel it's my responsibility and obligation to do what I can to help perpetuate this great thing that we have here in our co-op. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. So also, would you mention about the annual report?
Oh yeah, thank you. Forgot to add that to my notes at the last minute. As a part of the annual report, we do make that available to all owners. If you would like to get a copy of the annual report and take a look at it, it will be available at the hospitality areas of Wheatsville. So just talk to any of the frontline staff, and they will be able to connect you with that annual report. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Brandon. And so now we're going to have Jason speak about the co-op vote. Take it away, Jason.
Sounds good. Thanks, Mary Jade. Thanks, Brandon. Hello, Wheatsville. I am coming to you to share with you about the 2020 co-op vote. This year, chairing the nominations committee, and I have to give a big thank you to board incumbent and candidate Brian McElechant for, I almost messed that up. Sorry, Brian. Brian McElechant. I'm gonna get it one day. That being said, I want to thank him for his help. Rosemarie also, and the rest of the board for jumping in and helping us with the recruiting process. This year we have 4 available seats. We have 4 board incumbents. We had 6 individuals go through the board qualification process, and for various reasons decided not to continue with pursuing the ballot. And at this point in time, I just want to reach out and share with everyone that it's on all of us to recruit those who would do quality work on the board. The board's been great about bringing in candidates. We have committees that we all serve on, and we even have candidates that come from our committees. So if you're looking for a way to get involved, please don't hesitate to jump on those committees. But yes, the co-op vote is going on. In addition to voting on your board, we're also voting on our community action groups. And so your vote is most imperative for how we direct our purchasing power towards supporting our community action groups. And we encourage you all, if you have not yet, please go online and complete your vote to support those individuals. We're looking forward to having a great voter turnout. We have until, I'm going to check my facts and circle around with everyone, but I believe November 20th is the cut. If I'm off, somebody please yell at me for that. But please, this year, for the first time ever, thank you to our marketing team. We've taken the vote online so we can reach as much as the Wheatsville faithful as possible. And we're having a great turnout so far. So please hop online, vote, support your community action groups. And please, if you know any of those who would do quality work on the board, to come out, join a committee. On our committee work, we can start right away and then continue to encourage them to come out for the board. Thank you all for the support, and come out to Wheatsville, come shop with us.
Thank you, Jason.
And we have a word from our owners and staff for you all now.
What's up, Wheatsville? How's everyone doing? My name is Errol Schweitzer. I've been a shopper since 2006 and a member owner since 2014. And just want to appreciate Wheatsville for being one of the best run consumer-owned food co-ops in the country. I've been in the natural products space for like 25 years and have worked for a whole bunch of different retailers and food manufacturers, and am constantly impressed and blown away by how well Wheatsville executes, how good the quality is, how amazing the staff and management are. Just overall, what a great experience it is to shop there. I shop from Wheatsville using the curbside app these days, once or twice a week. Do the majority of my everyday grocery shopping there, and would love to see Wheatsville continue to thrive. And I want to point out to folks who may not be aware, I mean, Wheatsville has to compete with huge billion-dollar corporations with deep pockets, huge marketing budgets, and lots and lots of employees. And Wheatsville does it really well, and I hope that we all can continue to support the folks who are keeping the shelves stocked, keeping the produce fresh, keeping the sandwiches well prepared. And I also want to send a special shout out to the guest services and cashiers, because I haven't seen all my friends in the checkout lane now for many months, and I miss them, and I hope you're all doing well. So big love to you all. Thanks for everything you do. Peace out.
Hi, my name's Kanisha. I am the counter supervisor here at Wheatsville. I have been for the past year. I've been here for 3 years. Wheatsville is a very good place to work, very friendly. I've made a family here, especially through the pandemic. Everybody's really caring and worried about everyone else, and we've tried to do as much as possible to help customers get what they need, as far as food-wise, at a decent price. I actually moved to Austin about 3.5 years ago and came right to Wheatsville. Someone recommended the job, and really glad they did, because I immediately came in and fell in, and everything's perfect working here. I appreciate Wheatsville, all the people working here. I love everyone, and it's great.
I love Wheatsville because there is definitely a sense of familiality that comes with it. That's not probably a real word, but it's a real word to me, because it's kind of funny, because I used to work at a local ice cream shop that you guys might know called Amy's Ice Creams, and a lot of those folks ended up at Wheatsville at some point. So when I came to Wheatsville, it was as if I was joining a family that I didn't even know I needed to be a part of, but they made me feel so welcome, so invited, and honestly, this has been like one of the fastest straight up trajectories in my work life ever. Like I've accomplished a lot just in the short 8 years that I've been here. So Wheatsville actually means quite a bit to me.
My name's Virginia. I work at South Lamar, Wheatsville. I've worked here since February. I was cashiering, and I just got moved over to hospitality, which is pretty exciting. Something I love about working here is that the values are transparent across every employee and staff member, and it truly feels like a team. Like when somebody's down, people help bring them up. When somebody needs help, you have people right there next to you. When it's really busy, you know, people are checking in on each other. Do you need me to get you water? And I think just being there for each other goes a really long way in life. And during this past year, when things were so uncertain, you know, we leaned on each other a lot, and it feels like home. It feels like family, and it's nice to come to work every day and be happy and leave happy. And I think that's really important.
All right, super. If you missed those videos, you can go to the Wheatsville YouTube channel. Just search for Wheatsville Food Co-op. And we are almost done with our meeting, but we want to take about a couple of questions. So Nick, did you find a question that we can answer?
Yeah, we got some questions here. Let's see, we didn't have a tremendous amount of them. Can everyone hear me? I have the mask on. Okay, wonderful. This is something that we touched on, but we could probably go into it a little bit more. Mark, this is a quote. Mark said that Wheatsville has been having financial difficulties for years. Is that the case rather than only since the pandemic? Now, did you hear that?
I'm happy to take that, Mary Jade, if you...
Yes, please do.
So if you look at financial struggles, it is accurate, but what I wouldn't want to paint a picture to is, oh, okay, so Wheatsville is going to go out of business. That is not the message I want you to hear. Since we've opened the South Lamar store 7-8 years ago, Wheatsville has struggled to figure out how to manage that larger portfolio of an organization, and has shown a negative profit, as Brandon described, to the tune of $2.5 million over that time frame. And it's put us in a position now where we really need to make sure that our operational efficiencies are meeting with what our sales volumes are. So the short answer is yes, it is. The longer answer would be, if any of you want to discuss this, I'm happy to kind of break down where were we, And now what are we doing to get there? But the lasting message I would want you to hear is, based upon the work we've done on our action plans, if our sales volume was even 5% below prior year, we would be profitable right now. But because of all the challenges with the pandemic, the work that we did in our action plans still have not been enough to keep up with the damage the pandemic has done by reducing our overall sales by anywhere from 15 to 20% weekly. So if we can solve the sales problem that we've had, and again, we've seen a uptick, unbelievable response since the letter went out from all of you. If we can continue on even a modest uptick of that way, and we know that there's going to be problems that come from the sales increase that we will solve. But if we can maintain sales now, I'm proud to say we have the right systems and processes in place that will make Wheatsville not only financially profitable, but be able to get back to the point where we are even doing more back for our owners, growing our stores, growing our store count, enhancing our staff benefits. And we're proud of the work we've already done over the past almost 45 years. However, there is so much more we know we can all do. So short answer is yes. Long answer is we're solving a lot of those issues, but we need you to shop with us to help us.
Great, thank you so much, Mark. The next question comes in as, in terms of supporting Wheatsville during this time, does it matter which particular store we visit?
I'll try to answer that a little bit because I think it makes a little sense for me to say two things about that. One, no, it doesn't, in the sense of go where you want to go. Support Wheatsville anywhere you can. Both stores contribute to the overall success of the co-op. What I would say is many people have transitioned to curbside, and we really appreciate the business of curbside, but it is not the same financial benefit as actually visiting a store. And I just want to make sure that people understand, what does that mean, Mark? If you look at most businesses, they charge an upcharge for curbside. We do not believe that's the right thing to do for our shoppers and owners. But the reason people charge an upcharge is, if you think about the traditional way a grocery store works, you go into we buy the products from our vendors, our suppliers, our local suppliers and others. Then we spend the money to stock the shelves. And then when you have shoppers come in, they take the items off the shelf, they bring them to the front end, and we spend the labor investment to then cashier, bag, so on and so forth. When we add the curbside service in, although we absolutely want to do that for those who need it, what I would ask you to remember is now we're also taking on that additional labor investment to do the shopping as well for those shoppers and owners. And it's something we're proud to do, and we would absolutely prefer that versus you going somewhere else. That's why we created the curbside entirely. But as we continue to transition with this pandemic, and as safety continues to hopefully ramp up for everyone, there's a couple of things I would highlight at Wheatsville specifically. The extremely strong safety measures we've put in place have prevented any internal spread in Wheatsville. We did have some people contract COVID-19 from outside sources, and even when they came into work, because of the things that we have in place from our cleaning, our face covering requirements, we saw zero internal spread. So we're proud to say that we're very confident in our safety measures. Yes, those safety measures have created some conflict with either certain shoppers or owners. That was never the design. We have never tried to make face coverings or safety measures a political statement. It has only been, how do we keep our shoppers the absolute safest possible? And what I want you to know is, we are not trying to offend you. We're not trying to hurt you in any way. And I know that I will make mistakes in this process. I will look back and I will say, Mark, you could have done that differently. But I want you to know my spirit will always be to err to the side of your safety and your well-being. And if I make mistakes in that way, I'm sorry for that, but I'm going to do my absolute best each and every day to live with that motto. So short answer, shop at both stores. Thank you so much. Either store you want to shop at, even shop at curbside. But do understand the impact is not quite the same beneficiarily to us from the curbside experience.
Thank you so much, Mark. I do have another one here. It's a little bit of a comment, but I think you could probably speak to it. They say that they really miss the good selection of bulk granola. And there's also a kind of an added comment that they would be more prone to purchase our prepared meals from the buffet if they were in compostable containers. And we did previously have compostable containers, but there has been a change recently. So you might want to answer those.
Don't let me cut off anybody from the board if you feel like it's more appropriate for you to answer one of these questions. It does feel very operational in this, so I will try to take a stab at it, but you know each other. Please jump in if you feel it's more appropriate. From a compostable container perspective, I'll look back at that. And what I will say is we've struggled for a while to even have a supply chain. Again, the pandemic has touched everything where we could get that product in to be able to actually provide a quality compostable product that also wasn't so cost deterrent from any type of a financial model. I'll look at that again to make sure that we're not currently missing something. So thank you for bringing that back up. That type of stuff is always a priority at Wheatsville, but like everything, there's a lot going on, and that's something that we can slip on if we don't continue to highlight it. The bulk item, you probably saw me laugh a little bit if you were watching me, because one of our owners and one of our board members here has continued to be a supporter of reminding me how important bulk is. And it has gotten to the point where our trends nationally, when we look at nationally, bulk was kind of contracting and no longer what quote unquote a success story. Then the pandemic, as it continued to ramp up, bulk started to show, it actually could be successful again. And there was a few different reasons why. One, there is a cost perception that it's actually saving you money. And there's actually facts behind that multiple times too. Two, the one that I thought was the most interesting was it's fun. And at first when I heard that, I was like, I don't understand how that's fun. Then I started shopping bulk. I'm like, it's kind of fun. So I'm having some fun with bulk. But let me tell you the short answer. We have decided at both stores to reevaluate bulk in its entirety, everything down to bulk honey, bulk liquids. And I'll try to paint the clearest picture I can. Within the next 2 weeks, you should see Lamar's bulk is going to completely move back to basically where it used to be. We're going to re-expand bulk at Lamar. We're going to try to add in as many of the key items that we can. Potentially, if we can get the supplier, which we think we can, bulk honey back. We're not sure if we can get the supply of bulk olive oil back, but we're hopeful in that one. And the only thing that we're really trying to still stay away from is scoop bins. Scoop bins have demonstrated not the same level of safety measures that I don't think people thought of prior to COVID-19. And we're not sure that that will ever come back from a true safety perspective now that the health information of bulk bins that has started to highlight and come out on some of the national information. So we will enhance our gravity bins, which is the ones that you pull the handle and it falls into. We will enhance some of our bulk liquids and bulk other items. And we are going to start, I believe we actually pulled that decision already to make sure that we are able to allow, actually I'm confident we started on this Monday, we're allowing bulk containers to come back in. So your own personal containers, because we are aware, and again, I will thank Mary Jade for her constant whispering of, hey, Mark, think about this. She's really tried to help guide my leadership around bulk, and I would encourage all of you to do that. You don't always have the same opinions. Not every owner thinks the same way, but I take all of that feedback seriously. So we are proud to begin to allow bulk containers back in so that we can, similar to the compostable conversation, limit our overall footprint on the environment. And we will have sanitation stations at every area to make sure if you feel, hey, that I don't feel comfortable with that personally, we'll have an opportunity to sanitize. And at Lamar, there's actually a hand washing station right there as well. So we'll do everything we can do to enhance that. And thank you for bringing it up.
Thank you, Mark. I have a feeling many of these questions will be geared towards you. And so thank you for your stamina through this Q&A session.
Nick, could I just mention something? So it is past 12 o'clock, and I just want to say that if you'd like to, we can take maybe one or two more questions, but if you need to go ahead and do that. But we just want to thank you all for coming to our meeting. And if you have further questions, please send an email to membership@wheatsville.com. That's membership@wheatsville.com. And we will get an answer to you when we can, and we'll figure out who's appropriate to answer it. We just want to thank you again, and I want to thank Nick and Jacqueline for helping run this great meeting. And we can continue with one or two more questions. Otherwise, we're going to say goodbye to those of you that need to leave.
Yeah, I am. I'm kind of deciphering through these, and I'm wondering if it's best if they're sent to membership. Some of them require multiple parts. So if we could just remind everyone to send their questions to membership, and I will make sure that they go to the right places. We're getting many comments from people saying it's a great informative meeting and congratulating the board on good work and a job well done.
Great. So thank you, board. Just want to ask the board if there's anything that needed to be said before we say goodbye.
I'll just make a note, if I could, that Mark is really not kidding with wanting feedback from people. So hopefully you noticed that he actually put his cell phone in the chat, and he really does want the feedback from people. And you guys that choose to spend your time with us today, come to our annual meeting, are really our core. So we especially want to hear from you. Do not hesitate to give us feedback, because really the purpose of the co-op is to serve your needs. So help us know how we can do that better. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everyone. And let's say goodbye. We'll see you at Wheatsville.